Okay, good morning, everyone. Get started. Okay, so now we're up, we're recording. I want to welcome everyone to our call. Just a reminder, we are going to continue to do this every Thursday, no matter how many are on or how many are off. And I promise to always bring you something of value, something that you can use and something that you can apply to your own business. Now, lately, everyone's been coming to me, and I know that sales are down. It's a struggle to get clients. Not a lot of people are selling. We're at an all-time low inventory. People are looking for different types of lead generations. Not everyone is willing to run out and start investing in lead generations. We've talked about types of getting and generating your own leads. So today we're going to start this in a two-part series because I can't cover it all in one, but it's about how to really build a database and get leads from those. And that will be broken into two parts. This week, we're going to talk mostly just on building the database. And then next week, we're really going to dive into how to work that database, how to nurture it and call it and keep in contact and get those referrals and leads directly from it. And all this, guys, is completely free, right? So that's the beauty of it. You're not investing anything but your time and effort back into your business. There was a recent stat that showed 66 of the business, they interviewed agents that are closing 50 plus transactions, and 66 of their business came from the following of four sources: family, friends, acquaintances, and the fourth source was referral from the first three groups. So what does that tell us? Are we working that database? And it's not just your friends and family. I'm going to show you a little bit of that as we go on. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of Mike Ferry. He's one of the most renowned real estate coach. He was the pioneer in real estate coaching. He's still around today. And if anybody has been to any one of Mike Ferry's workshops, he has agents that have been with him for years, and they work strictly on this. And these agents are closing 150, 200 earnings of over $1 million in gross commission every year. And these agents are doing just this. This is what Mike Ferry teaches, preaches, and he's been doing it for the last 25, 30 years probably. So what I'm telling you, it works. It's a great system. And once again, it's completely free. Now, the essential key to this database is going to be growth. You're going to start out, it's going to be smaller, and you're going to nurture it, and you're going to continue to grow it every year. Actually, you should be growing it almost on a daily basis. When you come into contact with someone, you should be adding them to this database. So we're going to always look at the growth of it, because you can't continue to grow your business if the number of contacts remain the same. So every year, if you can add 50 or 60, you'll see the difference that it'll make. So we're going to start with a CRM. I know I've talked about it over and over again. CRM is just a database manager. You've got to have one, and you got to have it in order and work it. I've mentioned before, and once again, I do not work, I do not promote, I do not get kickbacks. One of the top ones out there is Top Producer. Top Producer has been around since the floppy disk. They are owned by Move.org, who also owns Realtor.com, just to give you an idea. They have just continued to evolve. That's why I like it. I don't like having to learn new technology every couple of years, because technology is forever evolving. I particularly like it. It runs, you can pay in full. You can pay, like, I think it's $3.99 for the year, or you can pay monthly, and it comes out to a little bit more a month, probably like $50 a month. There's also another one. I know I mentioned it before. It's Market Leader. Market Leader is a lead-based generator, but they also do have a pretty good CRM and a website that comes with it. And they're a little bit more expensive because you're getting the website and a little bit more. They're about $129 a month. You want to go a little bit cheaper, there's one that's out there called LionDesk that's geared towards realtors. They're around about $20 a month. There's also a couple of free ones out there. You can Google it. One I've known people to use is HubSpot. Now, remember, HubSpot isn't geared towards realtors. It's geared towards sales. So it may not be as easy to navigate around the other ones. Remember, top producer and market leader have all templates put in. So if you're ever looking for a letter to send somebody or something to do, it's built into those. So that's one of the reasons why I like them. And at the very least, you can use an Excel spreadsheet. I don't care what system you use, how you use it, as long as you're using something that is going to help you track everything. So that's why I personally like Top Producer too. It'll remind me. I can set alerts, call them in 3 months, call them next week, and it'll do that for me. It automatically sends me those alerts. Once again, don't work for them or get kickbacks, just prefer them. So when we're talking about building this database, it is so much more than just your sphere of influence or a mailing list. This database is what I'm going to call your business base. This is where your business comes from. It's a collection of people that you personally know, but and that are going to possibly generate business for you, refer you business. So when you're calling them and being in contact, it's not a cold call. It's people you know. It's an easy phone call to make. I'm not asking you to pick up the phone and call expireds, which is a rough way to go. And unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of expireds right now in our area, but expireds is always a good source of business too. But building this business base is going to take a lot of time. It's going to take some effort, and it's going to take some thought on your part as well. Then it needs to continually be nurtured. You need to be respected and guarded. Now, you're wondering why I said guard it. Guard it because this business base is your asset. This is your source of referrals. It becomes a business asset. So, and maybe one day if you go to retire, it's something you can sell up to a new agent because it's going to be a continual source of business. The other thing when I refer to you as an asset and URG, the only thing we ask you to use is Transaction Desk, which is proprietary to our board, not the broker. Should you ever leave us, I hope nobody ever leaves us, but please don't ever use anything that is proprietary to a broker or a real estate company, because essentially you're giving them your asset for your business. So that would be crazy to me. Same thing with emails. I never understood why people use a KW or a Remax email, because now if you ever leave that company, they have complete access to it, right? So it should never be. And if you build this database correctly and you work it the way we're going to talk about next week, it should be generating you close to 50 transactions a year. On the average, 15% of your database will buy or sell or refer you someone in the next 12 months. So imagine if you only had 100 people in that database, just 100. And gosh knows we all have more than 100 contacts in our cell phones right now. That would be 15 deals this year. Most of us would be happy just to do a deal a month. That would be going over. Well, our average sales price is somewhere about 500,000. That's going to be somewhere, if you got 15 transactions, that's about $150,000 in GCI, just from your database. Could anyone use $150,000 in gross commission? I know I wouldn't mind it. So as we're going to build it, we're going to base it on a send, call, and see. You're going to break it up in ones that we need to call. You're going to be mailing them sometimes directly, and some of them you're going to go out and visit. And then I also add social media to this, because anytime I build my database or meet someone new, I also try and friend them on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, or one of the few. Once again, if you're using it social media and you're adding clients, always be very, very careful of your contents of social media. Now, everyone wants to know, let's get started. How am I going to build this business base? Well, it's really easy. It's just a list of potential contacts, their personal information. And we want to add as much personal information as we can for when we are calling them or when we are visiting them. Start with the name, address, email, cell phone. That's the basics. But let's take it a little step further. Let's add their spouse. Let's add their children's name and ages. Let's add the date they may have purchased their house, the anniversaries, their birthdays, their occupation, any information you can find out. Whether they were military, so we know we talk to them about VA loans, whether they're into sports, whether they travel, if they were in a fraternity, sorority, or any type of social group, what their occupation is, how you met them, and I'd love to even see you add their personality profile, which is not next week, the following week. We're going to get really divulge into how to identify personality profiles. I don't know if anyone's ever done DISC training, but we're going to get into that and how to really use it in business and communicating. But by adding as much information as you can, when you are calling them, it gives you another level of connection because people want to see that. People love nothing more than to talk about their children, accomplishments, sports, where if they, you could see on social media that they just went away. People love that, and you're giving them that real personal touch, as aside from just making it a business phone call. And let's start with this list. Let's go for our greatest source. Always out there is going to be our past clients. Our past clients, we've already serviced them. We've already given them an example of the professionals that we are. Those are the greatest ones to ask for referrals because they can confirm that you gave such great service and you helped them and you held their hand. So they are our greatest source to put on here. Now, as we're adding our past clients, it's pretty easy. Go the last 3 years, go through all your transactions, go through it, add all their information. If you saved it all in Transaction Desk, it should be there. Go a step further. Let's add the client on the other side. So if you represented the seller, add the buyer. You know their new address. They just bought a house. If you're adding a seller too, it's also there. It's on the Alta. Their new address is always stated on the Alta. So it's easy to keep in touch with them, at least that way. Sometimes it's a little harder to find their cell phone, email. Try going to LinkedIn, just Google their name. It usually pops up. My phone number is on my social media. It's on LinkedIn. It's easy to find me if someone wanted to Google me. And the reason I say to add the other client is because most agents out there aren't doing this. They aren't keeping the database. I'll give you an example. Years ago, we lived out in Coconut Creek. We listed a house. When I listed that house, the seller moved up. He moved to North Florida, but the buyers were moving in from Texas. I kept in touch with them, added them to my database. 2 years later, he got transferred out. When he transferred out, who did he call? He called me, not the agent who put him in the house. He called me. So I listed the home again. Then I sold it to another guy. He's a local. He lived out in Lighthouse Point, got divorced, bought a smaller house, owned a painting company, kept in touch with him. When he listed that house, I relisted that house again, put somebody else in there. 4 times I sold the exact same house, all because I kept in touch with the buyer. 4 times, same house. They never called the agent who put him in the house. Nobody stayed in it for more than about 2 to 3 years. So I was able to always sell that house. So that's why we keep in touch with the client on the other side. Next, we're going to add our family, friends, and extended family. These are easy. You have all their phone numbers, their addresses, send Christmas cards to them every year. Add your family, your extended family, in-laws, anybody you can think of, then your friends. You're going to add all your close friends. Then you're going to add, if your parents are still alive, God willing, your parents' friends. A lot of them are downsizing. A lot of them are selling. Allison's on the call. One of her parents' friends sent us a referral over the past couple of years. Then you're going to go through and add your current neighbors, previous neighbors, maybe HOA presidents that you have information on. The worst thing is to be in a neighborhood and the house across the street from you, a for sale sign goes on it, and it's not yours because your neighbor forgot that you were in real estate because you didn't bother to add them to your database and keep in touch with them. Now we're going to move on to like whatever activities and hobbies you do. Maybe you play cards regularly. Maybe you go golfing, play tennis, church organizations, whatever members of social groups you are, add all those people to your database. Chances are you've got their cell phones in your phone, their numbers in your cell phone. If you've got kids, add their teachers, PTA members, principals. I moved my son's kindergarten teacher. When I first moved to Florida, one of the first people I listed a house for was his kindergarten teacher. Since then, I've kept in touch with a lot of other principals, PTA members, other teachers, follow them on social media. Just did one for actually a year ago and this past year, 2 teachers that I knew that were retiring. They were announcing their retirement. Teachers retire, they move. My son's principal, both of my children's principal from elementary school retired, sold their house and moved them. They just moved from one area to a smaller condo in Boca. Let's go on to coaches. parents from sporting events. My son played baseball. My daughter did travel cheer. All of those parents are in my database. Their coaches are all in my database. Your dentist, your doctor, you have their contact information, add it to it. Anybody you come in contact with, doctors are great because they have great credit and great income. Your hairstylist, your nail tech, anybody you may use for those services. I've moved my nail tech. Not only did I move my nail tech, when the woman who owned the nail salon needed to relocate her business, guess who did her commercial lease for 5 years? I did. Go through your social media, grab all those contacts information and then add them to your database. Car salesman or mechanic. My car salesman, people that I bought a car from, my kid's car from, they still send me emails on a regular basis. They're still looking to get more business. Years and years ago, I want to go back at some point, maybe 20 years ago, I bought a Volkswagen. Just went back to the same sales guy to buy my daughter's Jetta because he kept in contact with me. Add in attorneys or professional CPAs. God knows my divorce attorneys added to my database because I need a referral from her after everything I paid her. Add in any pastors, rabbis, priests, anybody in your religious congregation. Add in your vet, your groomer, a pet sitter. My vet, I would love for her to buy a house from me because I've given her enough money. It's time she pays me back at some point. Then we're going to go in. Pest control, electricians, plumbers. All of these people are great to have because they're not only may they buy or sell from you, they may know someone. Hey, yep, I was just doing some work for this person. They said they're going to be selling their house soon. So they were looking to do some renovations. Your landlord or previous landlord, they're great. They're always looking for investment property. You can go and add either high school classmates, college classmates, whether you're members of, I was a member of a sorority, I added all those people to my database. Previous coworkers. So a lot of us did something else before real estate, add them to that list. So just this alone, you should be getting to at least 350 people in your database quite easily. Now, once again, if we had 350 people in our database and the national average is 15% of them will either directly buy or sell from you or refer you business in the next 12 months, how many leads did you get for free? That's about 50 transactions. And they're not leads that we're buying or hoping that nobody else is contacting them. These are leads from people that we personally know. So the likelihood of them utilizing your services in real estate is way higher than any other lead you can get out there. Any other lead source generation. You're 9 times probably more likely to get their business. Now, when you're doing this, like I said, it's going to take a lot of time, some effort and thought process to continue to do it. And what I suggest is maybe leave a little notepad in your car or in your briefcase, because as the days go, every day you're going to think of someone you should add. Shoot, I forgot to add that person. Jot them down when you get home, log into your CRM, add them in. It should be a ritual of yours almost every day to try and add at least one person to that database. If you added just one person a day, 5 days a week, that's about, I think it's somewhere about 200 days. So by next year, you would have added 200 for the year. So remember, we talked earlier about continuing to grow the database. As you continue to grow it, so does your business grow, because now we added another 15%. So once you start doing all that, I'm going to ask you to do 2 additional categories. One is going to be realtors. And you're going to look at me now and go, Linda, are you crazy? Why would I add a realtor? They're not going to buy or sell from me. You're right. They may or may not. However, it's a great way for you to promote your listings, promote an open house. There's also a likelihood that there are realtors that are looking to semi-retire and get a referral, or maybe they get a referral for out of their area. I know Laura's more down in the Fort Lauderdale area. I don't know Fort Lauderdale that great. I might say to Laura, hey, you want to take this buyer out and just pay me 25%. It's a great source of referral. Somebody asked me to go to Miami. I'm not going to Miami. I will always outsource that and take a 25% referral fee. There's also a chance that there's a lot of realtors out there that do not want to list their own home or negotiate the purchase of their own home. This past year, I did 3 realtors' houses. One, he was getting divorced and his wife would not allow him to be the realtor. Another one, she hadn't used her license. She was really nervous. She didn't know how to do it. She asked me to, I sold her house in Parkland and then also bought her house on, helped her find a house on the West Coast of Florida. The other one, she just didn't want to do it. She had a real estate license, but she didn't want to try and negotiate at all. She had an investment property out in Pompano that was $800,000. And then we sold her $1.5 million house in Parkland. So realtors may just give you business. The other one I want you to add to that is going to be loan officers, title, appraisers, inspectors, any of these other ancillary programs that we use on a regular basis. They very well may be referring us business. They also don't hold a real estate license, most of them. So there's going to come a time that they want to buy and sell their own house. So who are they going to reach out to? The professional that they worked with in the past and know how professional you are, and that continue to keep in touch with them. Allison will verify, I think it was last year, we helped her sell her house and buy another one. She needed a bigger home for her family. Great source of business is to have another realtor in there. You can even go a step further. If it's me, I'm adding an extra step to my database. I'm going after divorce attorneys. I realize how much they make. It's time for us to make some money off of them. Divorce attorneys, most of them, they have a house to sell and then 2 people have some place to move to. So I'm adding a bunch of divorce attorneys to my database, and I'm going to continue to keep in touch with them and hope that they give me some sort of business. So now I've given you all the information on how to build this. And I know it's going to take some time and it takes some energy. First, you've got to figure out what CRM you're going to use if you're not using one already. Then you've got to build it. And I know it could take a couple days, but take some time, maybe this weekend. Instead of binging on Netflix, sit down and sit on Saturday for 4 or 5 hours and dive into it. Maybe dedicate an hour over the next couple of weeks to continue to grow this and add to it. It does take a little bit of time, but I promise you, you're going to see the return on investment, which is just your time. I don't know about anybody else, but if I can get business for free, I'm taking advantage of it. So next week, we're really going to dive in on how to work it, how to keep in touch with them, what great systems to do with it, and how to extract the leads from them and get that call of action and get them to refer you business if they're not moving themselves. So same time next week. It's always every Thursday, same station on Zoom, same password, nothing changes, 11 a.m. I'm always going to be here. The week after that, we're really going to dive into personality profiling. If you've never done it before, I highly suggest you're on it, even if you've taken any type of training on it before. It really teaches you how to communicate with people. Everyone communicates in a different style based on their personality. It'll also teach you a little bit maybe how to use it in your personal life, dealing with spouses, children, whatever. I know I've taken a lot away from it. I sat in on seminars that were week-long on it. So I'm happy to share it all with you guys. With that being said, I do want to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope you have the luck of the Irish if you're showing or going on a listing appointment today. And if anybody follows college basketball, it's March Madness, go Gonzaga. They play at 4:15. I'll be out watching the game. But I want to thank everyone for joining me. Have a great day. If you've got any questions, concerns, conundrums outside of this, please reach out to me directly. If you've got any questions or concerns regarding any loan information, you can reach out to Allison with Certified Home Loans. She's here in the office. Once again, if you want more information on building this database, just call me outside and I'll be happy to do it. But as always, I like to keep it under 30 minutes because we're all have important days ahead of us and we're all very busy. So be safe, stay out there, have a great day, and thank you for coming.
Thanks a lot, Linda. Awesome information. Thanks.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome. Have a great day.